Welcome to the Butcher Block Horror Podcast, where normally we exhume horror movies from the past and cut into what makes them so delectable. I'm Kane.
I'm JD.
And I am Joe.
Today, though, we are going to be throwing Spasms onto the slab. And honestly, there's no carving up favorite portions to force feed to you.
There were some parts that were cool.
We're about to shove that doo-doo right in your mouth.
We're basically going to bake a pie made out of excrement from 1983. And then we're going to tell you that it's apple pie. We're not going to tell you it's apple pie. We're going to tell you it's a shit pie.
Slap you across your face with it like slapstick comedy.
We're at least going to be that good of people that we're going to tell you, don't watch this movie.
Yeah, fuck this movie.
You can take a look at other David Smith projects or Dick Smith projects and see
the special effects man and artist, special effects artist Dick Smith.
Yeah, that's the only reason to watch this, or to watch Oliver Reed drunkenly stumble around on a cane. I mean, I guess,
and just twitching his face all over it.
Or realize that Peter Fonda's really not that good of an actor, and honestly, overhyped.
But Peter Fonda was a highlight in this film, but it also kind of
I don't agree.
Conversely, demonstrates how bad the film was.
I don't know, man. I think we disagree firmly on that because Peter Fonda did not make the film better. If anything, the only redeeming factors of this film, in my opinion, were Oliver Reed and his incredible overacting and obvious drunkenness.
There was a naked woman shower scene that made the movie bearable for about 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's never a requirement for me. But
I mean, it's a requirement of horror films. It seems to be, but it's a common trope of horror.
It's a specific trope from like 1977 to probably the mid 90s, and then people were like,
it's still happening in horror movies.
Yeah, horror movies still do it.
Do they really? I mean,
yeah.
What titty scene did you guys see in My Name is Bruce?
I've never seen My Name is Bruce.
I think you made it up.
My Name is Bruce? No, it's a horror movie about how Bruce Campbell is not Ash Williams, but an entire town. You know, we're getting off topic. What really is like, what titty scene did you guys see in Hereditary?
You can't just cherry pick horror movies and go, there's never nudity in horror movies.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's not as prevalent. It's not as prevalent in today's society. I mean, a lot of shit still happens that didn't happen before. Like pandas mating.
What the fuck? What? What kind of counter argument is that?
It's not a counter argument. Regardless, it's not a requirement to have titties in horror movies for me. Although those were nice. Either. It was a nice distraction from how fucking awful this movie was. I will give you that.
I was just mentioning it as a favorable point in the film, in addition to other.
I mean, Oliver Reed drunkenly stumbling around was probably my top pick for what was going on in this movie.
And the janitor.
We both just bulldozed what Joe was going to say. Go ahead, Joe. Talk about the janitor for a moment.
Well, unrelated to the janitor, getting back to Peter Fonda, I actually think he was probably the only actor in the movie that wasn't trying as hard as he fucking could.
Right, yeah.
He was at like 45%.
Yeah, he showed up, read his lines, cashed his check, and moved on.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
He's like, I'd like a paycheck from a horror film.
Yeah, it is fucking...
And he got one.
Straight to video phase that lasted through the 80s.
Yeah. Straight to VHS.
Yeah,
Bam.
He had no business being on Blockbuster Films. I'm just saying. If anyone listening right now takes offense to that, you could go fuck yourself too. How about that?
No. Like I kind of, if there are Peter Fonda apologists in the year of our Lord 2020, go ahead and jump into our comments.
Well, yeah, section. I mean, I'm happy to
because
discuss
I want to hear what
you
you have to say.
But understand, and this is not me insulting your intelligence, but understand that I'm coming from a fuck you right off the bat. That's where I'm coming from.
I mean, to be fair, though, that's where you, in any kind of time you interact with other humans or animals, you're coming from a place of fuck you.
Kane, do you have hostility toward the Fonda family or just toward Peter Fonda?
Just specifically Peter Fonda.
And is it because of his glasses?
It has nothing to do with his fucking rapist serial killer glasses.
How about his Harrington jacket?
That wasn't necessarily offensive either.
That didn't trouble you. Okay.
No.
What about his white V-neck T-shirt?
I mean, that was a little upsetting.
And
but that
extremely tight-fitting.
I like V-necks; they're comfortable.
Tight-fitting blue jeans right around the crotch, and then they loosened up as they approached the knee, and then from the knee to the ankle.
You know, you really focused hard on everything about Peter Fonda.
Well, there were other aspects of the movie that were impossible to zoom in on, so I was just like, I'm going to go for...
Which is interesting, because wardrobe is actually one of the things that we don't really zoom in on.
And usually wardrobe isn't that big of a deal, but...
No, it's pants and shirts.
And especially in this film, because nobody probably had to think too hard with the wardrobe coordinator on what do I put on. It's 1983. You just, you wear the style of the time and...
Yeah. Here's $100. Go to the mall and get some pants. Don't even worry about it.
So real quick, if you enjoy the taste of these feasts of fright, then give us a like and subscribe. Make sure you click the bell. Consider taking a look at our website. We give you brainworms.com. This will allow you to take a look at some of the other stuff that we do, and it'll link you to our Patreon, where I guess if you offer up $3 a month, we will personally apologize to you if you watch this fucking movie.
But we'll offer you other things as well.
But the thing is, we'll just focus on that for right now. So for the month of October, we're going to be teaming up with our kind of sister, cousin, uncle, niece podcast, the Brainworms Podcast, which is...
It's basically half us and then half two other people.
It's like a Frankenstein of podcast tissue.
It's like the Cronenberg of podcasts, basically.
It's a composite podcast.
Like Butcher Block Horror Podcast and Brainworms is The Thing from John Carpenter's The Thing.
It's a good illustration.
Yeah. I like it.
I guess I'm going to have to draw that now.
Oh, don't draw that. Don't ever draw that.
What was Jeff Goldblum's name in The Fly? It's if he got into that machine with a little bit of the Brainworms podcast and like say we were the doctor from The Fly and we got into that machine and it turned us into like this meld of like
we'll just say it's the doctor from The Fly and this is going to be JD Magdalene. But yeah, so for the month of October, the Brainworms crew is going to read a book, and the Butcher Block crew is going to watch the movie based on that book. Joe, real quick.
Yes.
What parts of this movie were taken and adapted directly from the book?
A couple of characters, kind of, and there was a snake in it.
Right, yeah. So the book was fucking awful.
Book sucked.
You can go to the Brainworms Podcast and have a listen to that. You can actually hear excerpts from the book.
And the name of that book is called Death Bite by Michael Merrick and Brent Monahan.
Yeah,
it's true.
So let's go ahead and let's just talk. What is this film about, JD? What the fuck is going on in this movie?
All right. Well, I'm going to kind of unload a few items first here. Precious cargo. The movie was written by Don Enright and William Ferret, the director. William Ferret, by the way, is the director of this film, Spasms. And it was released 1983, and I had trouble picking up exactly how and when it was released in the United States. I've read that it wasn't released in the United States. Then I read that it was released straight to VHS in the United States. Oh, and I've also read that it was a very limited theater release in the United States. So I don't know what to believe, but I feel like people were just fed up and didn't make a point of putting out facts about this movie because it was so terrible.
It was pretty bad. Well, Why don't you give us a quick synopsis overview, and then we'll dive into
the who, what, when, where, how, and why.
What bastards committed this atrocity against cinema?
We'll start with why.
This war crime of a film.
Yeah, I just watched it. I'm not sure exactly. I know there was a big snake. There was a group of...
But you only got to see it like twice.
Right, and then
Which honestly was
they should have
was
just
good.
kept the blue fucking filter.
The snake's vision was all blue, so anytime that you noticed anything
That's
from
how
the
snakes
snake's
see.
perspective, for the one exception of the time that what was his face? The awesome mustache. What was his name? Oliver's character? Kincaid.
Jason
Okay.
Kincaid.
So yeah, anytime, well, not anytime, but there was one other moment where the view had a blue screen, and it was Kincaid was on camera at some point, and they were just trying to observe him for some reason. But other than that, the view was blue. You had to look the fuck out because that snake was coming. It was a big, ugly snake.
And it was fast as shit.
Yeah, and they barely showed any of it. They barely physically showed the snake because it was probably just... Even, the director must have known that, like, okay, we can't show this snake. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, let's just pan to everything else and show its perspective in a blue lighting. And just... So anyway, there's this indigenous culture of tribes people, and they're, like, maybe worshiping the snake, maybe not worshiping the snake, maybe... It's fucking impossible to know for sure exactly what was happening. But then there was
real
this
quick. I'm
group
gonna cut you off real quick.
Go ahead.
So essentially, what I'd like to get is just a synopsis of the film, like just a kind of a brief bleh about what the film is supposed to be about.
A big killer
The
snake.
movie was a brief
Hold
bleh.
on, and since the movie had no fucking idea what it was actually trying to say. I don't envy you, JD. I don't.
That's fine. It's fine. No, so the character played by Oliver Reed, Jason Kincaid, was psychically connected to a big killer snake that flopped around and fucked people up,
Every
and it
time.
bit him, and it caused like these awesome bladder effects created by Dick Smith.
Big Dick Smooth.
Big Dick Smith. But yeah, so anyway,
Yeah, I just
yeah.
the psychic link.
Yeah. During the break, I actually wikied the movie so I could figure out what the fuck we just saw on screen.
Yeah, there's a satanic cult that's trying to get a hold of the
They're
devil
just kinda
snake.
there.
They passed
they-
out fucking snakes like goodie bags at like a kid's party. They're all lined up, and they're like, "Here's a snake for you,
Yup.
and
You
you,
get a
and
snake,
you,
and you get a
and
snake.
you."
Yeah, you don't get it. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody got
And
a
they
snake.
gave it to the old, the young. It didn't fucking matter. You could be,
Nope, just take these snakes.
just take
you
these fucking
worshipers
snakes
of the devil.
and you go worship
Yeah. It was real unclear what their ideology was. It was like snakes.
snakes and Satan. And
I mean, they never actually say Satan.
well,
Like
for
that
me,
I heard in the film,
I injected
it was just
that.
inferred. It was just inferred. That's the thing. They were the biggest bunch of pansy Satan worshippers ever. If you're going to bow before the Dark Lord, fucking own it.
Sure.
All right?
Yep.
And I would
Own
say
it.
that their leader did loosely resemble Anton LaVey, the author of the Satanic Bible.
And Aleister Crowley from his latter stages.
He had the
when
Crawley
was
effect
bald.
for sure. Had the late life Crawley effect was in play. So other than that, I don't know what I'm
I would like to
supposed
state
to say.
real quick that his name is Crowley.
Oh, Crowley.
It rhymes with holy.
Holy Crowley.
It isn't Crowley. That rhymes with Fowley. Ugh. That was a gift for you guys. That was a current 93 song.
I like it. I like it.
Oh, nice.
I like it. I like what you did.
But yeah, I like I said, I don't envy you, JD, because I don't know. It's like
I mean, I don't know
set
what else
this
there is
up.
to cover.
Yeah, I set up this thing, and I'm like, hey, let's give a synopsis overview.
No, you know what?
And there is no synopsis
There isn't.
overview.
There isn't. But there are characters in the movie that we can address quickly. I will run through these actors and actresses briefly, and then I feel like there is a silver lining here in the special effects of Dick Smith, not necessarily in this film, but
not
however,
his best work.
However, Dick Smith.
And the score wasn't great. Everybody showed up.
I mean,
it looked
he
like,
did his best with the $50 they gave him.
I think though it's like everyone, like Tangerine Dream, like everyone showed up to this film and gave about 20%, except for Oliver Reed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and I would say that Peter Fonda was at about 45% of his capacity. Like,
Was he though?
I guess
I think
other
I
than
don't know
Easy
what
Rider,
movie, aside from Easy Riders, I don't know what other movie he's done that made you go, you know what? This guy's the fucking face of a generation.
I can act.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it other than let's just go ahead and dive into who did what.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
The writer/producer, Don Enright, he's an Emmy Award-winning producer. He's also a Motion Picture Academy member. I'm not sure exactly what that's all about. So anyway, the film was directed by and partially written by William Ferret. Born 1933 in Canada. I'm not sure specifically where, but I don't think it fucking matters.
Nope. Islandia.
Okay, great. He's known for some film in 76 called House by the Lake. Spasms, obviously, and then something called Codename Eternity. That came out in 1999. Directed a few other horror films, one being Funeral Home, 1980, another called Killer Party in 86. Blue Monkey appeared to be horror-ish, that was in 87. And then he worked on some TV series as well, one being Alfred Hitchcock Presents, that came out in 1988. And then he was part of the Friday the 13th TV series, I would imagine in some directing or writing capacity between 87 and 90. And then a TV series called War of the Worlds, I remember that.
Which was fun.
Yeah, 88 to 90, he was involved with that. He was involved with The Outer Limits a bit in 95, and then later on down the road, Goosebumps between 95 and 98. So he worked on 27 episodes of Goosebumps, if anyone gives a shit. And then
I give a shit.
I kind of do,
right.
yeah.
And then he worked on, and I didn't realize that this was I kind of remembered it after the fact, but he was a part of Poltergeist, The Legacy, between 97 and 99. That was a TV series.
Okay. Well, I would like to dive in just a second. So for me, the reason I like Goosebumps is it was training wheels for my daughter. Like, if she got fucking scared watching a Goosebumps episode, I would tell her no when she would ask if she could watch a scary movie with me.
Sure.
So when she got to a point where Goosebumps was boring to her and it wasn't scaring her anymore, then we were able to start moving into horror movies. But
right.
Well, you could have
that's
just taken my grandmother's approach to allowing a child to watch horror films, and that was just to instruct me.
From Beyond.
She would simply instruct me that I should not have a bad dream and that I wasn't actually allowed to have a bad dream. She's like, you could watch these with me, but you can't have a bad dream. That was the deal. And so...
Well, I mean, if it was just nightmares, like night terrors, I could manage that. You know, you go soothe the child. It's okay. It was just a dream. Yeah, I'll check the closet. No, I'm not checking under the bed because something's
going to grab your throat and pull you under. Absolutely.
I would not do that. I mean, I wouldn't. I'm going to do that to my child now because that sounds funny. But
so, back on topic.
Why can't we just talk about Stuart Gordon
and Goosebumps,
Brian Usna, and Barbara Crampton?
Well, let me
change
pick the next
episode.
movie, and
I just
we
want to
will
talk about
be
Goosebumps.
No, we can't. We're doing Lair of the White Worm next, so let's just keep on.
Speaking about Goosebumps, there was quite a bit of nipple touching in this movie. I noticed.
It's true.
Just chest rubbing.
Yeah, it was kind of like, off the radar, low key, like reaching into shirts, little nipple tweak here and there, a little, shower breast massage type of thing. There was a lot of, it was very discreet, but it was there.
Right.
Starring Peter Fonda. Spasms, starring Peter Fonda as Dr. Tom Brazilian. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah, so, as far as I can tell.
Peter Fonda.
That's what he says in the movie.
Born New York City, 1940, son of movie star Henry Fonda, brother of Jane Fonda, and father of Bridget Fonda.
Who was always fucking awesome.
Yeah, Bridget
Fonda was fantastic.
Very cool. And actually, Henry Fonda plays an awesome role in a spaghetti western that I absolutely love called My Name is Nobody. And
it's a great movie.
I love that movie. He like took on a big gang of horsemen that were all right. Different time, different.
And real quick, Bridget Fonda had a walk-on role briefly in Army of Darkness because she loved the Evil Dead films so much. She just
nice.
I just want this one scene, and she plays Linda from Evil Dead 2.
So yeah, okay, back to Spasms.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yes. We have to.
We're not.
I'm sorry, Joe. You have to do it.
So
I already talked about Lair the White Worm.
but
let's talk about Peter Fonda for a bit. Okay, this is
let's just
dive in for a second because I've got some interesting stuff to say.
Yeah,
about
let's talk about fucking Peter Fonda.
He's known for always wearing sunglasses. It's like his personal trademark. He was never without sunglasses. Although in this film, you do see his face without sunglasses for just a few moments. And I also read some trivia that he supposedly broke his back twice in separate motorcycle accidents. He starred in Easy Rider, which is like, a big time film that people loved. And the movie, I believe it won an Academy Award for Best Screenplay.
Best Screenplay?
Well, I was still thinking about that shower scene. It's... Anyway,
yeah, Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay.
And the coolest thing, in my opinion, that Peter Fonda did was he portrayed Mephistopheles in Ghost Rider in 2007.
That movie sucks so hard.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's a fucking awful movie.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what they expected. They were like, let's find what's his face to be the Ghost Rider. I mean, what a unbelievable.
Yeah, let's get Nick Cage to be fucking Johnny, and then we'll get Peter Fonda to play the devil.
I mean, they might as well have grabbed like Martin Short and dusted him off and been like, "You want to be the Ghost Rider?" Okay.
I wish they had. I wish that better.
Or like,
I so want
Dana
that movie
Carvey
now.
could have been the Ghost Rider.
John Candy.
Or fuck it, John Goodman. Anybody.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, how awesome would that have been?
I actually think that might have been good if they had gotten John Goodman to be the Ghost Rider.
I think so.
It would have made more sense than Nicolas Cage because he's not a fucking Marvel superhero. I'm sorry.
Obviously, you never saw fucking The Rock, and obviously, you never saw Con Air because
I've seen them.
He was a superhero in both of those.
I didn't think shit of either of those movies. I mean,
The Bees. That's not those films. Anytime Nick Cage has been back not
to
the Bees.
Spasms.
No,
Oliver Reed, actor,
Oliver Reed.
Poor drunk Oliver Reed.
He sold it though.
He was like a folk legend in real life. There's stories about this guy. You could go on and on and on telling his tale. In fact, there was an episode after the filming of this movie where he was actually arrested for beating the shit out of some guys in a bathroom at some bar or restaurant and busted someone's face
hero.
And then was
absolutely a jukebox hero.
Forced to donate money to some charities by a judge and had a big shitstorm surrounding him and floating around him. And so anyway, Oliver Reed was born 1938, Wimbledon, London, England, and known for, if anyone doesn't know who Oliver Reed is, you will know immediately when I tell you he was the old slave master ex-gladiator in the film Gladiator in 2000, the one that starred Russell Crowe. And he was just kind of the thick man that is as thick and wide as he is tall. He's
beef.
He's 5'11", but I am sure that he is as wide as he is tall.
Did you say solid beef?
I did.
Solid beef. That's a good description of Oliver Reed, I would have to say. So in addition to Gladiator, he was in a bunch of other stuff. I've never heard of this, but there was something called Dr. Heckle and Mr. Hype that came out in 1980. No idea what that is.
That sounds stupid.
But if you go back in time, he actually was in some sort of old horror movie classics. And I'm really just citing what he did in horror because that's really all film-wise that I give a fuck about.
Sure.
So he was in The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll in 1960 and appeared again in The Curse of the Werewolf in 1960. So he was busy as a set of balls bouncing in 1960.
What?
Wait, what? You know what? I don't even want to unpack that.
Don't even worry about it. Let's just keep drudging along.
Let's just keep on going.
Yeah, I think I'm just looking for excuses not to talk about Spasms.
Yeah, whatever. But here's another cool thing about Oliver Reed. Not that any of that was cool, but he was also in another killer snake movie that came out in 1981 called Venom. So they must have watched that movie, which was exponentially better than Spasms, and then said, hey, let's pull Oliver Reed in from that one. And maybe that's how he landed his role in Spasms. I don't know.
Maybe.
Honestly, we're going to have to review Venom just so that we can talk about that.
Yeah. And so we can talk about Oliver Reed some more.
Seems like a thing to do.
He was also in The Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Okay, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It was the Terry Gilliam movie.
No, that sounds like a thing I'd be interested in, but I've not heard of it.
It's pretty fucking cool. It's like a Age of Reason. There's all kinds of cool shit in it.
Back to Spasms.
Yeah.
So stop dragging us back to Spasms when we're talking about things that sound cool.
I feel you, but we have an objective here, and so
yeah, let's do it.
Let's follow through. I'm trying to keep us on task right now. It's difficult, even for me. Anyway, Carrie Keane played the role of Susan Cavadon, I believe it was pronounced. Canadian actress, born 1948, known for a movie called The Incubus. She was in Spasms, something called Steel, and Distant Thunder. I don't know what that is either. And then Morning Man. No clue what any of those movies are. Possibly Canadian movies? I have no idea.
Clearly their legacy is not intact.
Right. Then there was a very, very popular Canadian icon was in this movie, Al Waxman, born in Canada, 1935. And he played in a movie called Atlantic City, and he was like this rich cocaine type of dude and in the 1980s. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. I haven't seen Atlantic City, so I can't really speak too much on it, but he was a character named Burt Samuels. And then he did a little bit of television work. I recognized the title of one show, Cagney and Lacey. It was kind of like a lady cop show in the 80s. Yeah. Pretty cool, like a lot of feathered hair and bangs and shit like that. He played Willie Loman in Death of a Salesman in 1997. So Waxman began his career at the age of 12 on CBC Radio, and he played a role of someone named Larry King on a show called The King of Kenningston. I thought this was a really stupid detail to add to the stupidity of Spasms, but
this whole episode is a stupid detail. Carry on.
Waxman has a song and a dance named after him called the Waxman Wiggle.
That's pretty cool.
Well, I'm glad that I know that now.
Right.
Thanks.
In Canada, it's a big thing, and he's like a fancy guy.
Do you know how to do that dance?
I'll have to ask a couple of Canadian friends if they give a shit about Al Waxman, and if they do,
I'm sure they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta ask though.
So then there was Marilyn Lightstone. She played the role of Dr. Claire Rothman, born 1940 in Montreal, Canada, and she's actually did a lot of voiceover work in film, and you may recognize her voice in The Never-Ending Story, and she was like a shape-shifting monster, and I for the life of me cannot pronounce the name of that shape-shifting monster, but it is spelt Y-Gramul, and I think it's pronounced Igramule. I think like the Y makes an I sound or something. But anyway, right. If I butchered that, I apologize. If any of our listeners can set me straight on the correct pronunciation of that name, or someone just Google it for me, much appreciated. Anyway, she was also the voiceover. She did the voiceover for the Queen in Heavy Metal. If you guys are familiar with
nice.
Heavy Metal. Yep. And then there was Angus MacInnes, who played Deacon Tyrone, born 47 in Canada. Most famous role was John Dutch in Star Wars. So John Dutch Vander was one of the Y-wing fighters, and he kind of like led the pack of the rebellion.
Gold leader.
Yeah, he was exactly, gold leader. So pretty cool.
Can I point out how many named characters there were in this movie that didn't fucking matter?
Yeah, you have no idea who they even were.
So many.
Miguel Fernandez as Mendes. I don't know who that was. Gerard Parks as Captain Novak, born 1924 in Dublin, Ireland. Won a Gemini Award for Uncle Matthew in a movie called Isabel. Supposedly that's like a big deal. And he also played the role of Doc in the original Fraggle Rock. If anybody is familiar with Fraggle Rock.
Fuck yeah.
It's kind of like a kid show,
dance
right?
your
Love
cares
Fraggle
away,
Rock.
man.
Yeah.
Save them for a rainy day, something like that.
Save them for a rainy day. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm familiar enough with Fraggle Rock, apparently, because I knew that.
I mean, talking about Fraggle Rock and then talking about Spasms, they connect because both are taking place in basically it's like a trash dump.
That's fair.
Like a flaming dumpster fire.
Yeah.
They're right in the center of the hottest point, surrounded by plastic and turds and anyway.
Let's just dance our cares away.
Patrick
Let's just
Bremer
stop talking about this movie.
Played the role of Keith, whoever the fuck Keith was. But anyway,
fuck you, Keith.
Bremer was in, he was a villager in Robin Hood Men in Tights. It's kind of something, right? I don't know. I'm probably going too far with this. I'm sure nobody really gives a fuck, but.
Honestly, I just want to say that, and we need to figure out, is it all right referring to people as, hold on, I'm looking for something. Yeah, so abo is a pejorative word for an indigenous
we
Australian.
About that, when Brainworms covered
it's
the book.
Super derogatory.
It's not complimentary.
Right?
So anyway,
and
speaking
I need to clear this up. The fucking Wikipedia page has one of the actors, Dennis Simpson.
Yeah, I was just about to bring him up next.
As Abo Shaman.
Yeah, I knew exactly what you were talking about before you brought it up. Yeah.
So
oh my God.
That actor, Dennis Simpson, was born in 1950 in Canada, was best known for he was like a host of a children's TV series called Polka Dot Door, and he was also an original member of a band called the Nylons. And he was the original bass player / vocalist of the Nylons, if anyone knows who the Nylons are.
I have no fucking clue. Sorry.
Then there was there's a few other people. There was Sandra Ewalt as Sharon. I have no details on her background. Then there was Al Maney as Abo's interpreter. I don't even remember who that was, but he did play the role of a chauffeur in the Adam Sandler movie Billy Madison. And he was also a high priest in X-Men Apocalypse.
Also not a great movie.
Yeah. So that's pretty much like the acknowledge, as far as I'm going to go down that hole of useless acknowledgement for a bad film, actors and actresses of a bad film. Anyway, special effects, I'm going to land on this for a few moments because it's, very noteworthy in my opinion, being that I am a lover of horror films and special effects. That seems to be where I'm going while I'm watching most horror films. I'm paying attention more to the things that they'll stop on and sort of highlight in terms of the grotesque. So anyway, Dick Smith was the special effects master.
Big Dick Smith.
Big Dick Smith. So he
one but
dick
them
this
call
movie
him
down. He fucking dick down Spasms so hard. He was born in L.A., 1922, and he is sort of named to be the godfather of horror movie makeup. He is an Oscar award-winning artist. He died at the age 92, so right there he did what he loved, because nobody lives that long. Maybe they do. Maybe people.
I don't know if that's true.
It seems like he lived a long, fulfilled life.
I have no idea. I know he made some cool shit in movies.
Oh, yeah.
Sure did. He wrote a DIY sort of monster makeup movie type of book in 1965. He invented and developed, I'm going to try to pronounce this, but it's an ingredient for the use of bladder effects that he invented. Trichloroethylene is how you would pronounce that. And that's the ingredient for using latex bladder effects. So he's a pioneer in that respect, and also a pioneer in one of today's standards for any type of fake blood in any horror film. That would be a syrup-based fake blood. That is sort of the bar for any type of fake movie blood. Really, that's, Dick Smith worked on The Exorcist, Spasms, a bunch of other pretty awesome horror films. I probably should go on longer about his involvement and contribution to the horror film. That's as far as I'll go. And then the score kind of came down to Eric Robertson and then Tangerine Dream, who contributed.
A waste of Tangerine Dream's time.
Yeah, Tangerine Dream. They wrote this piece and it was used for the end credits of Spasms, and I couldn't say that it was that great of a song.
No, pretty forgettable.
Yeah, that's about it, really. Oh, there's a few other characters. I just realized there was Harvey Chow. I should mention he was Dr. Lee, who was the coroner. If you guys remember, finding that snake.
Yeah, the all business.
The corpse riddled with snake bites. Yeah, he was very business. Anyway, so he was.
We were disappointed that he didn't say abracadabra.
I would have loved that. I really would have loved that. That's how you unveil a corpse in my book.
Yeah, and honestly, it wouldn't have saved the film though.
Nothing was going to save that film. It was going to be what it was, and it's their fault. Harvey Chow he was also part of that Friday the 13th TV series, just to kind of give him a pat on the back for that.
Yeah, we're going to keep coming back to that series until we watch a couple of episodes.
We might have
to. Yeah. It keeps popping back up.
Yeah, for that and the Poltergeist TV series just keep coming back.
So after that, I have a few more people here I could mention, but oh, you know what? I will mention one more character just because I found this to be a somewhat entertaining story. So anyway, one of the characters, the actor's real life name is William Needles, and he was Dean Franklin. Okay,
he was the snooty guy telling Peter Fonda's character that he was a loose cannon and that he was going to talk to the commission. Oh wait, no, that's not what what didn't happen in this movie.
Okay, well anyway. So he was known for playing the role of the White King in Alice Through the Looking Glass, made 1996. And so anyway, William Needles, he was like a professor almost in acting classes of somewhere. I forget exactly where it was, but anyway, he was like a teacher.
The Goodman School of Drama in Chicago?
Oh shit. Well, I should know that, but I've never heard of it before, even though I live here. Anyway, so he worked there, and one of his students was a Saturday Night Live professional, awesome, fucking one of my favorite comedians growing up watching, John Lovitz. Y'all remember John Lovitz?
Oh, yeah. John Lovitz is awesome.
Yeah. I love John Lovitz.
Great, just belabored sigh.
I used to love when he would be on Conan O'Brien, and he'd be like, "Jealous, Conan?" Anyway,
and then he punched Andy Dick and blamed him for Phil Hartman's wife getting back on cocaine.
Somebody had to punch Andy Dick. Just putting that out there.
It's true.
I'm glad it was John Lovitz. Anyway, John Lovitz portrayed William Needles as a character from SNL called Master Thespian, and it was totally based on William. So it was his experience being his student. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That you've inspired a hilarious,
You're forgetting our favorite character in the movie.
Les Ruby.
Oh, that was the janitor, right?
The janitor, yeah.
Janitor. Yeah, he just did a lot of
yelling.
Following the person around who was asking questions and just kind of making a stink.
Well, I mean, he was best known for his longtime role as a supporting member of the Wayne and Schuster comedy troupe in the 50s and 60s.
Oh,
and
wow.
then later as a grocer, Mr. Hall, opposite Carol Robinson's Penelope in a series of Laterio commercials in the 80s.
So this guy sounds like he took a few pies to the face, maybe back in the 50s.
Yeah, probably.
It's the kind of brand of humor I'm imagining, but I could be wrong. So yeah, maybe from this point, now that I've puked out all of these people's names, and someone here can sort of wrangle us back to our usual outline for how we approach this.
I'm over it. Let's
honestly, we covered everything. The effects team was covered. The actors were covered. The score, I mean, is there much to talk about?
Doo-doo.
Eric Robertson and Tangerine Dream, and honestly, I think Tangerine Dream probably at some point asked them to take their name off of this fucking pile of shit.
Yeah.
And they were probably fairly upset that they didn't. They're like, guys, please. We are known for, fucking way better films. And I mean, what's the Tom Cruise? I mean, The Darkness, fucking, the unicorn and the goblins cut the unicorn's horn off.
What?
No one saw
The Last Unicorn?
Is that what it's called? The Last Unicorn?
I don't know. I'm just naming stuff with unicorns in it.
God damn it. Now I've got to
It's not
look
called...
it up.
I'll look it up.
Wait, is it called The Guardian?
No.
The Legend? Legend?
That's it.
Legend. Yeah,
Legend.
that is what that is.
Fuck, why was that just not in my brain? It's this movie.
It's not really in my
I
brain
didn't
either.
think I knew what it was until you said Legend, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm on the train now.
Yeah, so Tangerine Dream did the entire score for that film.
Tangerine Dream rules.
Except for in this fucking movie.
Except for this, because everybody except like 3 of the actors who just really went hard, like harder than they had to.
Yeah.
Just phoned it in.
Yeah, there was a lot of phone moments. It was pretty phony.
I mean, at this point, I don't even know that we're going to be able to do our normal talk about your personal experience with the movie.
I mean, we kind of have just by shit talking for the last 40 minutes.
So I think, honestly...
I have something. I have some trivia.
All right, yeah, Joe, go ahead and let's do some trivia then.
That I actually dug it up when I was researching the book for our other podcast.
Excellent.
And I saved it for this because I felt like it would come in handy. The writers of the book Spasms.
Yep.
The one that this isn't, they invited them to the set, and they hung out for like 3 days and left in disgust. and if you have any knowledge of what a piece of shit the book is,
that says a lot.
It does.
Huh.
I mean, they specifically wrote the book to begin with. To try to cash in, yeah.
And I have a thing about that, actually. I do. I have some trivia that left over from when I researched the book. The book was written very consciously to cash in on like Jaws and the killer monster craze of the early 1980s. And then they bought...
Sorry.
Some fucking film company bought the rights to make a movie, sat on it until they had like 2 months left, and then went, fuck it, let's make this movie. To take advantage of the tax breaks that were offered for making films in Canada. Like that's literally why. And at the last minute, they were like, we don't want it to blend in with all of the killer animal movies that are very trendy right now. So that's why they brought in like the psychic link and the satanic cult and shit to make it a little different.
Well, that worked.
So it's this weird...
It worked.
The snake eating its own ass kind of scenario.
Isn't that called an Ouroboros?
Yeah.
Ouroboros.
Ouroboros.
I like that some of the stuff that's out there about this. I really like the fact that the director took one look at the fucking prosthetic snake. It was like, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, William Ferret really,
No.
I think he was just that's all right. That's all right.
And like Jaws and Alien were very smart about like, let's not show you the fucking monster and it will make the monster scarier.
Yeah.
There was a split second where the head of the snake was shown very briefly where it closely resembled Godzilla's head.
It did.
Just his head.
It did.
And then there was another moment where I am pretty sure that they had just the head and maybe like 3 feet of, snake body behind it, where it was thrown at someone running from it because
somebody off camera just chucked
you see it float and then you're like, well, that's weird. Like, how come there's only like 3 feet of it? Like, it was detached from the rest of the snake body. I'm like, does this snake have the ability to throw its own head?
All I know is that there were like 2 full like 20-foot snake bodies and like 3 different like 6-foot necks to accommodate the armature and the puppet heads and shit. And despite the fucking work of like Dick Smith and Stephen Dupuis, the fucking director was like, saw it on screen and interacting with the live actors that were mostly phoning it in anyway. And they were like, yeah, no.
Or drunk.
Yeah, or drunk. And he was just like, no, we're just going to use point of view shots.
I wonder what they paid Dick Smith, because often you get what you pay for. And I wonder if they were just like, Dick, we got $100.
$50.
Got $100, man. What can you do for $100?
Yeah.
And I'm saying, like, not all of it's going to be yours. Like, you still got to buy the material with this $100. So
Oliver Reed drank a lot of the budget.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
You're going to have to make this work.
Yeah.
Well, if only he had known that he was going to make a lot of money during the filming of Gladiator and, other stuff that he was in. And, a thick man with a glorious mustache is surely going to command some income, Not always. But in Oliver Reed's case, it was definitely so. I'm sure that he lived comfortably, and I would think that...
I don't think he did. I think that Oliver Reed slept on a bed of nails his entire life.
Well,
I don't think that he really ate. I don't think that he really ate solid food. I think he got all of his... No, I think he got all of his calories from drinking different forms of alcohol.
Yeah.
Sure.
Which probably were saturating his mustache, and all he would have to do is like corral his mustache with his lower lip and then basically get like a full shot of tequila from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the list of shit that he drank the night he died was...
Yeah, it was a long list.
Yeah, I mean, a single... I quickly looked it up because it was more interesting than this movie. A single shot of whiskey has 110 calories, so like 4 of those is a meal.
So we had like 10,000 calories that night.
Plus lagers and all that shit.
15,000 calories that night, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, so we had a heart attack. That's in case our listeners are wondering.
Yeah, tell that story. That's actually a pretty interesting story. Had a heart attack.
Well, Kane just kind of did.
So the story is, obviously, we won't ever fucking know, is that he entered into drinking contests with onshore Navy personnel and handily beat like 5 of them and then died of a heart attack.
And in arm wrestling matches.
Yes. Beat 5 of them in arm wrestling matches and then died of a heart attack.
And did I mention that also that he was like bathroom fighting? Yeah, so Oliver Reed was had a big fist fight with some people and like beat the shit out of somebody. And
well, I mean, didn't he have to like go to court over it?
Yeah, I think like a judge commanded him to like pay money to charities, and like he gave the establishment owner several $100s to repair any sort of like internal damage to the place that he was in. Because I mean, I guess the fight was like pretty intense and it involved multiple people, so it was like him fighting several people at the same time and like making new doorways through the place with bodies and like smashing glass, which
oh no shit.
Oh yeah, he was a violent dude. Like he could scrap and like
loved doing it basically.
Oh clearly,
like
yeah, that was his passion.
He took great joy in getting wasted and picking fist fights.
Bashing fucking people's faces in was his thing.
Okay. So there were a couple of things that come to mind that I felt were worthy of discussion. And this is Peter Fonda, Dr. Brazil, is a fucking psychiatrist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And gets tasked.
Practices no psychiatry.
None. The entire movie, there's no psychiatry at all. So...
yeah.
Why he receives the snake in his fucking pickup truck.
Yep.
And drives it back to the university in some kind of weird cook crate.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
For testing.
But I mean, Jason Kincaid specifically brings him on to deal with the snake situation.
Right.
My suspicion with all of that is that it's a byproduct of how much of a shit show the production of this movie was anyway, with the production team changing and like people getting hired and fired and quitting, and them deciding at the last minute that they needed this supernatural element to it. So maybe they just kind of had to repurpose Peter Fonda's character.
Right, because the room of Satanists wasn't enough.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, even they could have kept the supernatural psychic link between Oliver Reed and the snake, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Peter Fonda could have still been a biologist. Like,
yeah.
He could have still
Yeah,
been
he could
a
have just been a
biologist.
herpetologist. Is that a reptile?
Yeah.
Know about her?
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys a
about her.
question. Do you think the film would have been better if they never showed the snake?
Yes.
I think the film would have been better if they never made it.
Well, that's not where
That
we're
wasn't
going
my
with
question.
this joke. Come on.
But yeah, if
Come
they had
on
just...
now.
I mean,
But you're
the
not wrong.
blue filter snake vision was not good.
Yeah.
But potentially, yeah, if they had... Because, again, other better movies have used the...
Snake
keep
vision.
the monster off camera.
Yeah.
Not snake vision. The keep the monster off camera
Well,
to make the monster scary to great effect.
so
Yeah.
this film's made in what, 83, 84, somewhere around there. What year was Predator made? Because right away, that's the first thing that popped into my head that showed like the perspective of the creature that you were, concerned about. I
Was
wonder.
it 1987?
So maybe somewhere around there. So like, yeah, I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, 87.
Okay. Well then, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe Predator ripped off Spasm.
Well, no,
Yeah, I
maybe
don't
they
think so.
learned their lesson from Spasms. They're like, let's not do it like that. Maybe it's...
Well, I mean, the snake vision in the acclaimed, and I don't know if it's award winning, but it's an acclaimed horror movie, Snakes on a Plane.
Ooh.
The snake vision in that movie was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it was cool.
See, I have a different opinion. I enjoyed the snake vision. I liked knowing that this time I'm looking through the eyes of the snake.
Well, I mean, horror movies do the, like, you're seeing through the monster's eyes. Like, that's a thing, and it's cool and scary. But the blue filter was not the way to come out.
I agree that it was...
It looks terrible.
It was poorly crafted. If blue vision... I mean, for all we know, that could be somebody who ate a shitload of Viagra.
And they just put some blue saran wrap over the camera and went, okay, go to town.
Well, supposedly, like, if you, like, eat a bunch of Viagra, that is, like, a side effect is, like, blue vision. So what did the snake... the snake should have just been a giant penis. I think the film would have been better if it was not a snake, but indeed a giant phallic
just a
creature.
Big dick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of think that it was. It seemed very penisy.
Well, it was like penis /
very
Snakes are
Godzilla.
very phallic animals.
It was very cockish.
Penis.
Honestly, it was just terrible. Like,
Yeah. Don't do it to yourself.
And let's talk about the fucking finale. All right.
Do we have to?
Yeah, we do, because it was stupid. Like, obviously, the whole film was bad, but it's like the director looked at all the footage they had on how they were going to end the film, and they were just literally like, yeah, he was just like, fuck this.
It really does feel like the movie got bored of itself.
Which is understandable.
Yeah.
It's absolutely understandable.
It fell asleep.
All right. Let's see. Do we have anything that popped out to either of you that made you want to bring it
Are
up?
we just milking the clock to get our full hour in right now?
No, we're not. I'm ready to call it a fucking night, and I wanted to make sure that everybody said everything they wanted to say, because fuck this movie.
Fuck, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, let's do... Oh, you
did
have
we
a podcast.
mention that the material used to make the bladder effect is it's a
Carcinogen?
yeah,
No, I don't think we talked about that.
the trichloroethylene. Yeah, it's like basically some type of plastic / whatever it is, sort of rubber latexy type of material, and like Dick Smith perfected it. But anyway, yeah, I guess it's like a pretty heavy duty carcinogen. So I didn't research to figure out. It seemed like a lot of these that people that I found out who had passed that were in this film, they died of heart attacks mostly, that I learned of. But I would assume that
Because they were actors in the 80s and did insane
A
amounts
lot of cocaine.
Yeah.
So much
Yeah.
nose candy.
and if you drank like X amount of units of alcohol, as many as Oliver Reed did, then yeah, heart attacks on the table. But I was kind of wondered. I'm like, I wonder if anyone that came in contact, maybe not just in this film, but if anyone, any actors heavily involved in an extended horror film like that took, an extended period of time to film. I wonder if that substance has ever made anyone sick.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
an interesting side note, because I looked up the wiki page for the movie to figure out what the fuck just happened so we could talk about it. We thought that like the satanic cult was causing like the lights to explode and shit. According to whoever wrote this wiki page, it was the psychic link between the snake and Oliver Reed that was causing all those explosions.
So the native people that were dealing with the snake on their island or whatever, when all of the fires were exploding and shit around that was due to the psychic link? Or is it just that end battle?
I mean, again, all I have to go on is this wiki page, which I just looked at to understand the fucking movie.
Do you understand it?
I mean, I kind of do, just because like there are parts that the movie itself didn't explain that I guess this person did, and that's one of them. But I don't know why the fires were. I assume just because of sorcery.
I did read that Oliver Reed's character Jason Kincaid was the only character in the film that was actually immune to the snake's venom.
Yeah,
because he was immune to all venom.
And that's why he had a psychic link with the snake.
Yep,
because he
makes sense to
survived
me.
Its bite. Yeah, total. Yeah, it's the 80s. Do a lot of cocaine and vote for Ronald Reagan.
Yeah,
and make spasms.
Yep. All right.
You forgot to mention listen to Steely Dan.
Steely Dan.
Yeah, and Dire Straits.
All right. We've talked about this as long as we possibly can. Hopefully some of this gets shaved off so that we don't subject anyone that takes time to listen to this drivel. But if you watch Spasms, let us know what you think. If you think that we're in the wrong, you're probably not paying attention.
Yeah.
You're just a contrarian.
I do encourage.
Yeah, I'm thinking you're a contrarian. That's what you're just going to argue with us because you like arguing. I think definitively everyone can watch this movie and be like, this is terrible.
I'm going to clash with my previous recommendation to not watch the film. I'm about to go against it and recommend it solely on the premise of having our listeners' opinion, because I value our listeners' opinions. I want to know what they feel and think about Spasms. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to be the 1 out of 3 here that recommends that you all watch this shit. And just for the sake of do something.
Don't spend more than $5.
Don't spend more than $5.
Spend money at all.
Don't spend money at all.
It's on YouTube right now for free.
Right.
Is it on YouTube? Okay, that's fair.
Just go to YouTube and watch like 20 minutes of it.
Watch it for free.
You'll see what we're talking about. It's fucking awful. Honestly, don't watch it. Just listen to what we said. We told you the basic plot outline.
Yeah.
You really don't need to watch this film. Unless you just want to see Oliver Reed half sober stumbling around on a cane.
Which I found charming.
If you want to see Oliver Reed have a mustache,
fucking do it.
Yeah, I mean honestly, if you just want to see a sad drunk man, like just go to a bar.
And if you want to see a few moments though, honestly, you could go through the YouTube, like the movie that's on YouTube, and go through it and just look for Dick Smith's bladder effects. Just kind of,
you could probably just find
fast forward through the movie.
Smith
I'm sure you could. Yeah,
on YouTube.
Look for the pulsating faces and look for. Although I will say that I am very disappointed that at no point did those bladders explode with pus or fake blood. There was a little bit of like an arm on one of the early introduction of characters and kind of came into the film.
That was the best one.
That was the best.
Yeah.
But so there were
the one with the arm.
There were some scenes deleted from this film. So apparently like that snake ate a few arms and they had to cut it from the film. And I don't know what reason.
I'll tell you what the reason was. Is because the snake looked fucking stupid and the director saw that and was like, you know what?
That's right.
That's too close up of a shot of that fucking snake. The fucking frame lasts too long. We need to we need to cut that.
You get your arm back. You get to keep your arm.
But yeah, you've wasted an hour, 50 minutes, however long.
And we thank you for it. We thank you for it.
Yeah, there's going to be some editing that's going to happen in this episode, I'm sure.
And, if you do watch it and, or you've watched it before and you're like, you know what? These guys are dicks. They don't know what they're talking about. Let us know. We're happy to engage with you. You're wrong.
Set us correct.
But we're happy to engage with you.
Sure.
You can find us at wegiveyoubrainworms.com. That should give you access to all of our outlets that allow you to listen to this podcast. And we'll give you access if you would like to hear about the trash heap of literature that exists out there. You can give a listen to Brainworms.
You can learn about the book that this movie was based on.
Yeah, you can hear about the book this movie was based on. Honestly, I think that's normally a Butcher Block, we're pretty happy with the things that we enjoy. So we don't normally apologize. So I don't think we're going to today, actually. You chose to listen all the way through. Don't watch this movie. Spasms is terrible. Have a good one.